Hello there, people, friends, family, and folk. All of you, today we've got a little replay on the jungle, Le Jungle with Le Fog, which, actually, I do have a way to remove, but I'm an idiot and I haven't done it, as I'm just getting back into casting. Oh well, we will put up and shut up in regards to that. We've got Cry going to be playing as the Apothecary here today. Going with a pretty typical build here, just starting off with his double scouts and his tax to the mid, power onto the contest on the natural. Oh, dude, I'm not here. Hello. Let's start again. Sending his Apo to the natural power and tax down to the central VP. He's going to be facing off against the Mech Boy of Man of Fifth. This is a very scrawny looking Mech Boy, don't you think? Whoa, getting a little bit of lag here. I don't know, he just seems like a... I feel like I could take that Mech Boy on. I feel like I could suplex this motherfucker. He just looks hella scrawny. I think I'm used to that skin where he's got all the big armor and he looks like a fantasy dwarf. I don't know. Anyway, meeting scouts is nice, but they're going to chill in the uncrushable heavy cover over there for a while. Mech Boy probably going to go into melee. Sluggers over here, meeting scouts is also not really ideal for the sluggers, certainly when taxed are nearby too. Fast shotguns going to be countering the fast burners here that the sluggers have donned. Ooh, they're going to go into melee. I'm surprised the Cry is disengaging so far. I would have probably just returned fire. He obviously has the shotguns coming now, but he's quite far away from the sluggers. He's going to roam in. Apo moving over, probably already used the heal. Indeed he has. You can see the lack of energy. Shooters very wisely here from Tex, focus firing the scouts, not the Apothecary. Tried to get a model off them, unsuccessful. But likewise, the shotgun scouts here of Cry, which did shotgun blast the sluggers of Tex, also not managing to pick up a model. So let's see, can we get some tactical marine models falling here? Well, you know, ideally just one. Oh no, power of the Apo, there you go, big heal there on the tax. Gonna preserve them to fight another day, and now it's gonna be the shooter boys falling. Apo does have to retreat out of there with the flanking Mech Boy. But combination attacks going into fisticuffs with the shooters, and then shotgun scouts nearby to support, is a bad day for shooters. So if you're unfamiliar, the way this matchup works is you get your shooters, you kill the enemy scouts with your shooters, and then you use your slugger boys, especially with a burner, because they're power melee weapons, the actual burners themselves when you use them in melee, to kill the tax. From a Space Marine perspective, you hunt down the war boss. If it was the war boss, you'd hunt them down with scouts, or you hunt down slugger boys with your scouts. You don't really want to be using Mech Boy, you don't want to be fighting the Mech Boy with your scouts. That would go pretty badly for you. You can use something like the ASM to deal with that. Oh, Mech Boy just claimed a tactical marine. Damn, nice, that's great for him, beautiful pickup. So Scout's going to rotate over to help, because really this is taking a very long time. I was going to say, and the risk is the Mech Boy will simply teleport away and utilise the garrison. Such an annoying hero to deal with. Teleporting ranged heroes are always so frustrating to combat. So ASM versus Stormboy is pretty standard stuff here from both players, nothing unusual about this. Mech Boy can get the battery pack, which is amazing support for the Stormboys because it gives them a big fat heal, and because the Mech Boy can teleport, he can actually keep up with the Stormboys after they've dove right into the back lines of the enemy. And likewise it gives them more energy as well, so that's even better. They can start doing double jumps, which is really cool for them. Sluggers don't want to be decapping there, they're going to be bleeding loads. Tex is not paying attention. Okay, loses a couple of models unnecessarily. ASM on the side getting into the shooters. Shooters probably need to retreat, there's no support for them. They're just going to be bleeding models. Actually, if you look at the bolt pistol damage there from the ASM, pretty significant. I'm not sure exactly what the damage is, but it's pretty decent. Here comes an attempted retreat grenade, looks pretty decent. Yep, claims a couple of models, well worth it that. That's another 50 plus requisition down for Tex. And if you look at the economy of Tex right now, he is struggling for requisition. Completely bled dry of requisition. Does have a better income than Cry, mostly because his pop's a lot lower at the moment, but damn. Purification valves as well. Nasty damage over time on them. Might actually claim this weakened model on the shooters, we'll see. Nope. He lives to fight another day. Keep it in combat here with the Apothecary. He wants to still stick around. He's obviously got the heal potential on his ASM. I'm not sure what the cooldown is for the Purification Vials. Okay, he needs to retreat now, though. Ooh, no, he doesn't. Heals the Apo, and then he's going to jump backwards with the ASM for the knockback. Gonna dissuade. That's an odd one. Uses the explosive shot on the Mech Boy rather than the Storm Boys. I don't really understand that one. Storm Boy's beautiful against ASM because of their power melee choppers, unlike the standard melee of the Slugger Boys. And of course, we're just seeing the battery pack heal. There you go. Have a chase of that, lads! And it powered up those Storm Boys with a nice big fat heal. And then they go into melee and deal with the Tactical Marines. Whoever said Storm Boys are bad, you are a fool. You've got to use them right. They're tricky because they're squishy compared to things like ASM. But yeah, use them properly and they are very good. They're very high damage. Huge damage potential on these bad boys. It's like flying Howling Banshees. Obviously, with weaker specials because they're not 70 melee skill, they're only 60. But still very strong. Now, one of the weaknesses of this build for Tex is going to be these shooters. They should be quite helpful early on to focus fire APO to deal with scouts, but they don't scale very well into tier 2. I mean, scouts don't get any better either, but it's the fact that scouts are speed 6.5 really. And as you can see right there, scouts, even though they're light infantry and relatively squishy, at least compared to other Space Marine units, they don't bleed that much. Nice fat heal there on the scouts, brings them back to full functioning. And this is very precarious right now. I think the Storm Boys are staying in play because Tex wants to do a jump over this way, because otherwise he risks retreating straight through and he's going to get hit by a grenade and retreat and potentially lose these guys, not to mention chainswords and retreat. So that is indeed what he's going to do. He's going to jump over so he's not in the retreat path of the grenade. See, this is intelligent play. Do you know how we had this? I'm going to have a little tangent here, so bear with me. We had this debate recently about should there have been minimum range on grenades, and of course we did get it in the end. And a lot of people were saying, well, if you guys hate minimum range so much, why don't you get rid of retreat grenades as well? But you just seen the reason why. So with minimum range, there's very little counterplay other than meticulously microing your melee unit over and over again when they're in the presence of scouts. When really, scouts are a ranged unit, and okay, the shotguns are the melee counter, but they're not meant to be a melee counter via the frag grenades. Likewise, Guardians of the Eldar are not meant to be a melee counter, but without the minimum range on grenades, they were acting like such. In contrast, retreat grenades are entirely predictable because retreat paths are entirely predictable. You might not realise where you're going to retreat, but it was entirely predictable, and if you had enough game playtime on that map with that unit, you would know exactly where at any given time your units were going to retreat. You know where the enemy has their scouts or whatever their retreat killing unit is. So you can predict that and you can counter it by not retreating your units through a retreat path that is vulnerable to scouts, and that's exactly what Tex did with his Storm Boys there, and it was a beautiful example of high-level gameplay. Just want to point something out though, guys. 500 VPs at the moment to Cry, and Tex only has 130. Tex is making a big mistake right now because he's actually purchasing tank busters first, anticipating a likely Razorback, which would be the meta choice against the Space Marines. And Cry is tier 2, although he doesn't have the resources for that. And the reason why is because he's already got the Power Axe on the way for the Apothecary along with Stimulants and a Sergeant on the ASM. Now this combo now is going to be quite difficult for an individual squad of Orcs to deal with, even with their knobs. Oh, look at that. Beautifully done. Attempted to get into the retreat path, hacked down the remaining model on the Shooter Boys, but then the Storm Boys jumped in with their knob and caused a stun, which is sufficient to let those Shooter Boys get out alive. But a really lucky special attack early from the Apothecary in that engagement is going to end up being a pretty bad situation actually for these Storm Boys. Battery pack heal a little bit late, unfortunately. Honestly, would have been better off saving that battery pack heal for the Sluggers, as you can see. Not really getting a good engagement there and losing their knob. Wow, brutal. Power X Apo putting in some work right now. Stimulant's going to really juice up those ASM, giving them damage bonuses and damage resistance. 15% DR, 30% damage boost. Pretty nice, that. Damage boosts always helpful. But damage resistance, likewise, extra good against... Well, extra good when you can combine it with heals, basically. Because whatever you're healing, that amount of HP is going to go further if the thing that you're healing has damage resistance. It essentially multiplies the value of that HP that you're giving it. So that's a nice little combo. Not sure about the purification vials. They've done things, but ultimately, rice just seem better in the vast majority of cases. Guaranteed knockback and demand is just so strong. Tactical Marine's just running around with 2 models. I'm not sure what the crack is here, really. Alright, let's see how this engagement's going to go. You see, this is where the purification rites would be godly. Just going to throw the vials in, dodge the vials with the Stormboy jump, and actually the vials hurting the ASM more. Oh, nice teleport there with the mech boy, heal the Stormboys and then dip. Ooh, not enough energy for another jump, or that would have been a dead tank buster. You see another heal there coming on the ASM. ASM going to be engaging the Stormboys here. They've got a little bit of support and fire from the attacks, but this is not a great engagement. Yeah. Ooh, and sluggers as well. Yikes. Merciless Strike going in, but Merciless Strike missed the slugger knob, and he is by far outputting the most damage against the ASM. Or was that the Sergeant? That was the Sergeant falling on the ASM as well. Very expensive to replace for Cry. This could be a start of a comeback here. Nice grenade. Perfectly timed. Huge amounts of damage there to the Stormboy squad. Did claim 2 models. Burners and the sluggers are going to get one of those gens, but Cry is now going tier 3. Tank busters, as I said, total waste of time. No Razorback in sight. Just a massive drain of requisition here for Man of Faith. ASM going into retreat again. Going to be taking the life of the Stormboy knob. That's a really valuable jump right there. Very expensive to replace. And now the ASM are in close proximity to the shooters with no melee to protect them. Not a good situation for the shooters. Those bolt pistols will hurt. Really feels like having more energy regen right now would be a lot better for the APO than the vials, but we'll see. Not in full cover here with the scouts, taking tremendous damage there from the shooters. Here comes the slugger knob. I do like the knife on the slugger knob. Well, you can't call it a knife, can you? I mean, even by orc standards, that thing is frigging colossal from this skin. But you can see Cry does a beautiful job here of distracting with the majority of his army, but the whole time in classic Space Marine fashion, default scouts running around, capping the map, decapping Tex's natural. Tex down to less than 57 VPs right now, Mordaka on the shooters, not too useful in this matchup. Really one of the worst matchups for shooters, to be honest. I think that's why double sluggers started to become so popular. It's frustrating though, because then you really struggle against fully upgraded double scouts. It's just a tough matchup. So manages to reclaim his natural, no Stormboy knob. Stormboy knob coming back out. 75-25, yeah, that is expensive to replace. It's interesting to see Cry just running around with his tax at 3 models, basic. No tier 2 upgrades for them, of course, and no longer able to just simply swap out to Stern Guard. I'm sure that would have happened otherwise. Got to call them in separately. Still a very powerful squad, but he chose in this case to rush tier 3. He's probably going to get Terminators, I assume. Bit more requisition needed. Oh, Vanguard veterans, nice. Flying Corn Chaos Space Marines, essentially, with even more health. Very, very scary. Look at all this. CC. Shotgun blast into the purification vials. Damage mitigated by a batch pack heal. Here come the Vanguard. They're the squad that needs to make things work. Let's see what they can do. Stimulants active. Damage resist. Damage boost. Jumping in. Terminators called down as well to assist. And we're moving forward with the APO coming in for a big heal. Secondary jump causing more disruption, but the orcs are not taking a lot of damage. Is there going to be a Call the Boys? I would hope so. Shooters, you see, focus firing here onto the airport. Very well played. There's the Calder boys. Extra boys joining the fight, and this is a very bad situation, actually managing to kill the Vanguard veterans in the first engagement that they were active there. Remember, not only do you get a free reinforce of all nearby orcs, you get a damage boost to all nearby orcs when you use Calder boys, and presumably there was a lot of War going on too, and War is a stacking buff that all the orc infantry can use that increases their damage and their speed, and that is a lot of pressure right now for Cry. Will this be the start of a comeback? Well, here comes the heavy flamer Terminators. They're gonna have a lot to say about it. But wow, Stormboy's managing to kill one of the Terminators. They're a little bit late on the heel there for Cry. I think Cry needs to stop memeing around with the purification valves, get rid of them, and pick up the improved medical equipment. That's going to increase his maximum energy and improve his energy regen, so he can continue throwing out heals as fast as possible, as well as stimulants, which will be very effective on the Terminators. I was surprised actually by how much damage the Vanguards were taking, and really how little damage they were outputting. I'm not sure if they were hopping between targets. You guys will be able to go back and watch that fight again, but I don't know, the Vanguards just didn't do it, did they? Even under stimulants. Of course, they had no support, jumping into literally 5 units. The Mech Boy both is shooters, sluggers, and Stormboys. But yeah, I don't know. I just thought they didn't really seem to do any damage. Maybe they did quite a lot to one of the squads, and then they just got healed by battery pack. That's probably what happened. Could have been a good opportunity to use Angels of Death, but is it 250 or 200 red? It probably was just saving the red for the Terminators. You wouldn't have had enough then to use Angels of Death plus the Terminator drop. But yeah, it was a fairly obvious call to boys and a very effective one. There goes Heavy Flamer on the floor. You can see the amount of damage that's doing. Tex is going to ignore the Terminators whilst they're channeling that ability, and now it's gone. So now he rotates around, going to deal with the Apothecary first. He is causing a lot of HP regen to the nearby Terminators. And he did use Angels of Death there. Now this is getting a bit precarious. But here comes a looted tank. This is going to be tricky to deal with. Terminator is very good against infantry, not very helpful against a looted tank. Of course, they still retain their power fists, but how are they going to catch a tank? They're not going to be able to ordinarily. You're going to need a snare, and he doesn't have ASM melter bombs. He doesn't have any last cannon devastators, so this is tricky. I'm actually kind of concerned for Cry. I mean, it's definitely still a chance because he's got techs so low down on VPs right now. Only 32 for the techs left. It's not a lot. All you need to do is send a sneaky scout down the back lines, but this is why techs will keep shooters loitering around here at all times. They will counter a scout squad quite easily. Missile attacks are an option. Probably wants to save up for a tank of his own. Yep. Here comes the tank for Cry, but good thing for Tex is that he's playing the Mech Boy. So he can pick up a beamy Death Gun on his Mech Boy and help support his looted tank. He's got Cult of Speed potential to improve the speed of his tank to get it out of any bad situations. So he can sort of bait in the enemy tank, make the enemy Predator think that he's going to win a fight against the looted tank, and then Cult of Speed away whilst attacking with a beamy Death Gun looter. And you can see right here, even the Heavy Flamer. Oh, that was a nice play. Teleports out just as the grenade was going to explode. Does a lot of damage to the slugger. But yeah, even the Heavy Flamer point blank on the floor, not that effective against these sluggers now, thanks to it being AoE damage, able to be mitigated by the heal of Avatist. And the fact that the slugger's level 3. Stormboy's going again into the Terminators. I'm not sure the Terminators even have their teleport right now. It wasn't long since they last used it. Okay, saved potentially by the shotgun blast there, but Scout's taking a tremendous amount of damage here. Looted tank needs to rotate its fire onto the Predator though. Predator will beat a looted tank 1v1. Looted tank definitely more designed to take out infantry with the high level of burst damage that it does. But as long as you have the Stormboys charging in with a heavy melee, the Predator needs to keep backing up. And the Predator, whilst backing up, will always fire at the thing closest to it, which would be those Stormboys. So if you push the Predator back with the Stormboys, and then have the looted tank follow whilst the Predator is backpedaling, that could be a very good situation for you as an orc player. We still have tank busters in play. They've been running around with fewer models than normal, because of course they've had no purpose until this point. We'll see if they can do anything here. I mean, only 2 models, it's half damage they should normally have. But it's something. Yep, 1 model now. Needs to get the beamy Death Gun, there's no doubt about it. Looks like Scouts did manage to get in and get a decap, but they were forced off. Cry is now bleeding VPs quite rapidly. Okay, this is his equivalent of the Storm Boys. He's going to press forward with the Terminators. Obviously with their power fist they deter the looted tank, and then he uses the heavy flamer to get some AoE damage on the sluggers, but he incurs a lot of damage whilst he's doing it.
We are losing our position point to the enemy.
Second looted tank coming out for Faith. Faith? Whoa, man of Faith. Tex. He's not bleeding, is he? He's not bleeding at all. This is a bit of a precarious position with the repairs coming in from the scouts. I think the Predator should slay the tank here. Bit of a mistake really from Tex. I don't know why he has this looted tank so isolated. He's actually focus firing the scouts, which I think is quite smart. He's just trying to go for a VP win situation right now. Terminators and Apo in the middle, getting onto the points, quite effective. Evade the Vial. Terminator's got crazy regen here being multiplied by the Apothecary. Remember, Apothecary's passive aura does multiply the regen of nearby units, and Terminators have better regen by default anyway. So when you multiply that by 3, it becomes very, very strong. This is part of what makes Terminators so good. Constantly staying in the field, but somehow the looted... Oh, no, the looted tank didn't make it out. No. Tank busters made it out. Yeah, looted tank's dead there. But there's another one! Hooray! And I don't think Cry anticipated that, so that's not very good. Full war. Damage and speed boost to everyone involved here. Stormboys jumping in. They probably want to tie up the Terminators, use the power melee. Sluggers should just run through and go into the scouts, and a Rock's even thrown in. Quite a poor Rocks, to be fair. Misses everything, but it's more pressure. It's zoning. Stormboy Knob just slayed. Slain? English. I do speak English as the first language, did you know that? I know, you wouldn't think it. I think that's it. I think Cry's lost. He's going for another Predator. Oh, maybe he's got time. Actually, he's 55 VPs. Dare the Predator move forward and deter the Storm Boys? No, it daren't. Because it knows there's a tank nearby. Oh, it's advancing! Wow, if the tank was over here, this would be a terrible situation for the Predator. But it's not. It's out of position. The tank rotating over. Dual repairs down. Now the Predator's actually got quite a lot of HP. This is suddenly looking less good. Oh, tank busters are in play though as well. Ooh, one more shot from the looted tank. Nis uses hold fire. He's going to waste his shots against things like the Apothecary. Terminator's getting slain by the Storm Boys. Secondary Predator tank coming out. This is the danger of having tank busters alone versus tanks. They start bleeding models, and then their damage output is tremendously reduced, but it doesn't matter. There are no VPs for Cry. GG. What an amazing comeback from Texcalibur. Hope you enjoyed that one, folks. Really nice to see some high-level Orc play. God, it feels like it's been a while. I hope you enjoyed that one, because I did too. If you want more of that thing, subscribe to the channel, and if you want exclusive access to a bunch of high-level casts, you know where you can find them. Check out the Patreon. Torpid signing out.